I'm here today, very fortuitously, with a McKee, the only McKee. It's called the McKee Mahyra. It was a one-off car, designed in the very early 60s, 60 to 61. It was raced by various different people, finished off with a guy called Floyd, but before that it was raced by Salt Walter. We found the car 12 years ago in Florida. I was sold it under a pretext that it had won trophies because it's a great racing car. Unfortunately for me, when I bought it unseen, I was told it needed a total restoration and it hadn't raced since the end of the 60s. I was sent all these lovely photos, all black and white, all in period, with this car, and in front of it, a guy squatting down like so, holding a trophy about this big. So I was convinced it was a great car. It raced in a series called the USRRC, which was the prelude to Can-Am, standard for United States Road Racing Championship. And when the car arrived, the geometry of the car, the way it was set up, and the whole concept of it made it difficult for people to understand how it could actually win races. So I was confused, and I went back to the gentleman I bought it from in America and said, look, you know, this car really did win that trophy. Oh, I can assure you it did. He said, I will even send you the photo that we sent you a photocopy of. We got the photo, we turned it over. On the back of it, it says George Barris. Didn't mean anything to me because I'm not a custom car man. It had won the trophy as being the custom car of the year, 1963. Never won a trophy on the track. It was useless, completely, utterly useless. And the reason why its photos, it's always on its own, is every other car has gone. And it's Billy No Mates, but an amazing paint scheme. The instruments are an identical copy of the original instruments that have just been replaced due to age. The chassis is somewhat agricultural, very big tubes, very solid. Suspension is all the technology that they thought of. Really, probably we're looking at a kind of an XK150 style technology thought pattern. The car is incredibly compact centrally. The lump is right behind us. We have a figure of, we're now told, 400 horsepower or thereabouts. We really didn't know what we had with us. We felt she might be all look and no go. But she wasn't just glow and no go. She was surprisingly good in quali. We had good brakes, which was quite a surprise. We had a question of the dashboard was fluctuating, so therefore the mirrors, I couldn't use the rear vision mirrors, which was a problem. Finding the gears was tricky. She wasn't slick into each gear. It was a real bang into the gears. And our biggest issue was she had so much understeer, it's unbelievable. We came in halfway through the quali session, which was the first time we've ever driven her. Anybody's driven her since '65. And we dropped off the front roll bar and took out a little bit of pressure out of the front tires. Went out. There was unfortunately a red flag, so we only got 2 laps afterwards, but I felt she was more underneath us and more viable to make the project work. In the race, we also did a few other things. We changed the rake of the car, we raised the ride height of the car, and we dropped some more pressure out of the front of the tires, stiffened up the back, and I can't say we transformed the car, but we transformed the car as far as an undrivable brick to a semi-controllable, very fast brick. We ended 10th, having overtaken a GT40 and a Lola T70. We had a 3-lap battle with a Cooper Monaco, which was wonderful because the Cooper Monaco is well driven. Steve knows his car, he's had it for 20-something years. He campaigns it regularly. I've raced against it in the Masters FIA series when I've driven a B8. So I know how he can handle the car, and I'm used to it burning past him in the straights and then getting him back in the wiggly stuff. Watching him, following him for 3 laps, really showed how he handled corners. His oversteer, his understeer, his everything steer, which we mirrored and multiplied somewhat tenfold in our car, which really helped. We managed to get him just before the end, which was a nice little kind of coup de grace at the end of the whole event. So I think we can say that we have a good makings of a good car, which also has aesthetic appeal from most angles, except from the very front, which I think we've already discussed, and I think probably everybody in Goodwood and now everybody who's seen it on television has also said the same thing. She is a USRRC car, so she should be competing against cars from 58 to 63. Not up against Can-Am cars. She's not a Can-Am car. And I think in her own world against XK150s, Cooper Monacos and such, Bristol, I think we're going to find that she can hold her own, and I would expect podiums. I think that's about the summary.